Alright, so you have to create a program which adds employees and then displays their records. So records in the sense of employees' names, IDs, and then salary. Alright, so take it as you're the CEO of an enterprise, and then you have new employees. So you have the system which you add the employees' names, their IDs, and then their salaries. After you display everything later. Alright, so the question says our solution should be inside the main function. So we know our main function is int main, so we just write int main, which is our main function. All right. So int main, and then we have our return to 0, which means should be executed. Okay, so we want to make our program effective. Okay, so adding employees, adding new employees. So adding new employees, you can add 2 employees, 10 employees, billions of employees. So that's what we want to do here. So we start by, let's create a variable called employee number, which is imp number for short. Okay, so imp number, we want this imp number to store the number of employees we want to add. So we can start with a question: how many employees do you want to add? Okay, asking the user. So we are going to use cin to accept the input, which is the number of employees you want to add. Okay, and then it stores it in. So cin the input, and then it stores it in a variable called emp, which we've created. So after this variable, now let's see how we add employee names. So we use a data type string, and then we initialize an array called name. Okay, so we are storing the employee names in the array called name. Okay, and then we have something here inside here. You see, usually we use write figures, which is 2 means, which means reserving 2 spaces, or 3 reserving 3 spaces. But this time we have a whole variable in it, so it just means, you see, the emp which we initialized here was supposed to store the number of employees we want to add. So the same thing here. There, so it just represents the number of employees we want to add. So here stands for the number which the user is going to input, which is the number of employees you want to add. Okay, so the same thing we do for int id, and then inside it we have the variable which is representing the number of employees we want to add, which we took here, cin employee number. Okay, and then the same thing we do for the salary. Okay, so for the salary we can use float. Okay, because some salaries are in the form of decimals. And then we use our for loop. Okay, so we use our for loop. So this for loop, okay, so this for loop, int I is equal to 0, starting from 0, and then I is less than the number of employees. So it just makes, so meaning we will be using this for loop to take input. Okay, and then we are saying the looping should be less than the number, should be, in a sense, should be equal to the number of employees which we are adding. Okay, so let's do something like cout. So cout employee name. Okay, cout employee name, and then let's take in, we are using the loop, okay, to take input into the array name. Okay, so which is the employee name. Okay, and then let's give a space. So cout and line. Then let's do the same thing for the rest. Okay, so now we have the id. Let's do the same thing for the id too, and then let's give a space, and then let's do the same. Let's take input for the salary, and then salary input, and then let's give a space. Okay, and then lastly we end station. All right, so we've finished taking the input. So the last one, so let's end the line again to just make it very clear. So the last loop we are going to use is the one which we display the information. Okay, so we display the information. So int I is equal to 0, and then so I will be So we'll be looping inside, or we'll be accessing whatever we stored in the arrays. Okay, so the first one which we are going to print out is so see out employee name, okay, and then which is the array. So the loop is going to loop inside, access the name array, and then print everything out. And then we give an end line, which is space. And then let's do the same thing for the ID too. Okay, and then end line. And then last one, let's do the same thing for the salary. All right, and then let's end everything. So that's all. So let's test our program. Okay, so our program finished successfully with no errors. Sorry. Okay, so let's start. All right, so it says how many employees do you want to add? Okay, so you can add any number of employees. So the program is structured based on the number we give you. So assuming we are adding 2 employees. Okay, so the name of the employee, so assuming the first employee is called Michael, and then we give him ID of 1, salary of, let's say, 1,000 cedis, and then the second, let's say the second is John, new employee called John, and then ID of, let's say, 2, and then give him money of, let's say, 20,000. Okay, so that's all. So it says employee name. Okay, so employee name is for Michael, and then employee's ID is 1, employee's salary is 1,000, employee name is John, employee's ID is 2, salary is 2,000. Okay, so I think we can space in these ones out. So we can space in these ones out with a color to make it very nice. Okay. Okay. So let's build it again.